you know, when somebody, you can tell they really tried with their outfit or like what they got going on. They have lots of jewelry. I always give them a little compliment because I just know either they're a little nervous because they pushed it. They're like, maybe this is a little bit out of my range and I'm a little nervous that I tried this hard. Or they're like, hell yeah, I'll take a compliment. Thanks, girl. Like I was walking and this girl had, the pink hair. She looked so cute. And she had this flowy, like it was like a fairy, and she was going to brunch. She had to be because she was given brunch. And I was walking by with like my pajama shorts, essentially, with like a grubby tee. I was like, you look so freaking cute. And she was like, thank you. And I could tell she was like the nervous style. But I should have, like, she had the hair I wanted. I should have also been like, and also, where is your hair? Like, stop walking and tell me where your salon is.
I know. I love that. I feel like, in a non-shade way, I feel like women are just so good at that. And like, it's something that I've seen like men online talk about, like, we should do that. And I'm like, yeah, you guys should. Like, not that I've never seen like men give each other compliments, but I think women have such a camaraderie about that. It's like the classic, the girl bathroom where it's like, women that are drunk in the bathroom. It's like the greatest community of all time. And like, I went to like the restroom like a year ago at some bar. Like, everyone had been drinking. Like, all the women in there were like fairly drunk, and like the vibes were just so good. And when I like left the bathroom, and I didn't even actually like super directly talk to any of them. Like, I just like use the bathroom and I washed my hands and I left. But when I came back and like I was hanging out with Blessing at the time, and I told Blessing, I'm like, you'll never know what that's like. And like, I'm so sad about that because it's so cool.
It's true.
It's just, and I saw like a TikTok of some woman recording of like, which I might buy this eventually if I feel like getting kitschy, but like Betsy Johnson, like, the funky designer who has like all the really loud bags and shoes. Like, this woman had a Betsy Johnson phone purse, and like it was just these women in the bathroom being like, oh, so how does it work? And like one of them called the girl with the phone purse, and she's like, and see, like I feel it ringing and then I can answer it. And it's like, I don't know, that's so fun. And like, I just love having like a fun little time with people, and I feel like women are just so good at enjoying those little things.
And
I like giving the compliments as well when I can.
So honest too, because I remember one time I was in the bathroom with my little sister, and we came out, and like there was also two girls having like a debate about something, and it was to do with some guy. And then they immediately turned to us. They're like, we need to ask you a quick question. And we're like, shoot. Like, they just needed an impartial third party. Yeah. It's like, should she go with this guy who did this tonight? Or should she text this guy who she likes a little bit more? And we're like, text the guy you like a little bit more. Like, he just happens to be here, like, blah, blah. And the friend's like, told ya. And she's like, okay. And we, like, might have just changed the trajectory of her night. But, like, they want our opinion. Like, that's, like, those kind of moments are just fuel for me. It's like, it makes you feel so human and good and happy. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Ugh, that also could be its own podcast, but
girl bathroom
it's just good times.
Yeah.
I just love good times. And I feel like too, where we are societally, because like the culture of womanhood is definitely not perfect, right? But I think a lot of women know that, especially as adults, and are like, hey, like, maybe they have had like some bad experiences growing up with like bullying or other things. And I think there's such an active push right now for like women to support other women. And obviously like that can have its flaws too. Like, it's not like that's also a perfect system, but there's like that. I think there's a lot of women that are like almost like unpacking that like generational trauma of like, like, oh, I wish I had this growing up, and like, yeah, let's like all band together and like be friends and help each other out and all this stuff. Like, I don't know, like the vibes are just really good right now, I feel like, but maybe I'm biased in thinking that we're always in a way on the cusp of something. Like, obviously like progress is not linear, but like, I think everyone's just very like, yeah, like we should do this more. And that's kind of like what I had when I went out with like my friends to like brunch, where like a lot of them were like my age or older. And they're like, yeah, like we need to do this more. Like, it can be so tough, like forming these relationships, like older, like as you get older, and like, obviously we all have our own things going on, our own lives, but like, there's just like such an excitement around that. And I think that's very cool. So
I've noticed,
you will find your stylist.
Yes, thank you. I hope I will. I've noticed that too professionally, is like, there's a lot of effort with women lawyers, like 10 years older than me, to put the ladder down, which is like literally helped me so much. It's insane. Like, it's getting me job opportunities. It's getting me in rooms I never would have been in before. It's getting me interviews for jobs that I probably would have never been considered for previously. Like, it's crazy. I had one lawyer who's like the main IP lawyer for this massive law firm in my city. She's so busy. She's like a partner at the firm, does everything like IP related for the entire firm, is like the head of the IP department. She runs all these like societies. She travels constantly. It loops me in on so much stuff. And she just like, I met her back when I was in first year, and she still thinks about me and chucks me and CCs me on stuff. She's like, you might like this. And there's like so much of that. It's the nicest thing ever. And all I can do is just like, now I'm kind of at that point in my life where like younger women going to law school right now who like games too are reaching out to me for like coffee chats, and I'm like, I will talk to you over coffee for 10 hours, like done. Like I can never say no to somebody who's like, I like what you do, can I talk to you? I'm like, yup, let's go get a beer, let's do whatever. I need to do that just because of how much it was done for me. Like you can never take that kind of stuff for granted, because it literally will change what you end up doing. People think it's like, oh, it's just a coffee. It's like, no, I'll think about her now all the time. And the next time someone's like, oh, do you know someone in law school might be interested in, literally the other day I had this coffee with this adorable lover. Like we like talked about Baldur's Gate for an hour and then got to the law stuff after. Like that's like, she was just a good time, had fun. And then later on I was having a meeting with like this law clinic I used to work for. And they're like, oh yeah, we're like running a nonprofit now, but we're having a hard time finding one else that I think would be interested. I was like, I know exactly who. And I gave him her name, and apparently she's doing it with him now. Like you cannot underestimate how important that kind of stuff is. It's huge. It's so good. And
yeah, I mean, that's like a big part. Yeah, like even, you know, in a more generalized way, because unfortunately there's only so many women in the game industry, but, you know, I think all of us are also very much banded together. And like, that was a big thing of like, when I first, like I met Sage Ryan, like at the Kind of Funny Studio launch, but like she hit me up at the beginning of the year, was like, hey, like, let's chat about like your career and stuff. And like, and it's funny because I think she's technically younger than me, I think, but like we're both kind of in the same space, and like she's like done her own thing with like Pixel Circus and everything. And she's like, yeah, well, I just like wanted to hit you up and like talk to more like creators in LA and women in LA. And like, I think that's very cool. And like, to me, that's a very like concentrated effort that I've seen from like women in my industry as well. Trish has like offered the same kind of thing. And like Andrea I can always hit up, and like, it's really fun to get to like work with those people. And like, I think while any inherent collaboration has like a reach out aspect, I do think there's like, I don't know, there can be like that extra layer of like when it's like women to women of like, yeah, like let's come together and like make content and like really try to work on pushing the industry forward when it comes to like who's on camera, but also who's behind the scenes and who's in front of the scenes as well. And like the importance of having both and like working towards that. But yeah, with the networking thing in general, I mean, like I was talking about this the other day with someone about like, that's why like I go to the JW at the end of like all these events. And it's like, I think a lot of people, especially like maybe fans who are like, in people's defense, like it's also like part of how we talk about it, where it's like, oh, you get drinks and like, yay, it's fun, and you get to meet up with people. And like, you know, I know Ben's like, oh, you can like see developers and like tell them how much you like their game. And like, I think that's also speaks to like Ben's sensibilities of like wholesomely trying to like give people props. For me, like my sensibility is like, I'm gonna hang out here because like there might be a job here that I don't know. And it's not like there's a direct job there, but like I might meet you and a few years later you get to do something that can like swing back in a way that can like boost my career or boost like what I have going on. And it's not to say that like it's all purely transactional, but it's like you just never know how like the value of having a network means that you have people to like toss to or pull from. Like, and I had that with like one of my like peers in the industry was talking to me about like me getting into consulting, and he's like, oh, how did you do it? And I told him a little bit about like how I got into it and what I do. And I'm like, literally just start telling people you like consult, and like you never know what's going to come your way. Cause like some of my gigs have just been people know I do this work. They can't do it for whatever reason. They pass it to me. And it's like, that is what community is about. It's like you like hang out and you're cordial and you're helping each other out. And it's like, as things pop up, you're like, oh, this person would be perfect for this. Or, oh, I heard about this for this thing. Or like, I can't offer you this now, but like maybe later. And it's like, that is like the strength of having that network. And like, you never know how it's going to come in handy. Like whether it's, you know, like a gig or a tattoo artist or a, you know, even something like knowing about like, you know, I've seen like my friends on Instagram be like, oh, I'm moving here. Does anyone know anyone? I'm like, oh my God, I actually do. And it's like, you can just like, that's so valuable. Cause again, like not everyone can do everything at once, like on their own, and like getting to lean on people, like helping out a little bit. I mean, it's like that little, I feel like on a optimistic side, like we really all like, you know, the end of like, The Grinch, where like all the little Who's are like singing their song. It's like, you can really form that like over time. And I think that's really cool and like super useful and like really exciting. Like I know everyone's different, but for me, like I love getting to like put people onto stuff or like help out. Like that's why like whenever I'm on Twitter and I see jobs, like I retweet like every job I see, and like I'm not a developer, but like I'm like, this studio's hiring this whatever. Like it's so cool to like, I don't know, get to see people do their thing. And I'm also like just a firm believer on like there's so much space in things that like I know like statistically if every single human being made a Twitch channel today, maybe the industry could crash on itself, but like I know not everyone's gonna do that, so I've never like, I don't know, been intimidated or cared about like more people doing Patreon or more people doing whatever. I'm like, so many people would have to fill this to burst, like, and it's so hard to do any of these things. It's like, like let's like, everyone can try and should try to do it. Like I do think it's easy to get discouraged on like, well, the industry is declining and like da, da, da. I'm like, shit is always on fire, like just do shit. And if you fucking fail, who cares? Like, I don't know, at least you know like what happened instead of like just pining. But I'm also like a hippie, so that's very specific to my perspective on things.
No, I completely agree on that. It's like you're gonna be a skeleton in at least 100 years from now anyways.
Yeah.
So do something, have fun with it. Make sure you're financially stable while you're doing the fun thing you like, of course.
Yeah, like you gotta live, but like I'm also too like, you know, and I'm sure we're gonna like wrap it up because we've already been going long, even though I don't got anything to do because I work for myself and it's like just like chill Monday for me. But like I've been really enjoying like, and you know, we talked about this a bit on the exclusive hootenanny that appears at some point ? I forget how that gets waved out to people, but yeah, but we talked about like being 30 and stuff, and like the ways like I am into being 30 and like having this be like a new era. But now that I am in kind of like the perfect spot of, okay, like I'm older, I kind of know what's going on. You know, I have this like very established relationship. I don't have kids yet. I'm kind of just like hanging out. Mm-hmm. Like I'm enjoying so much, like kind of entering what I'm kind of calling my like side quest era. I'm like, just start doing shit. Like, I'm like, I want to start taking more class. Like we have to get our camera fixed because the one we had, turns out it might be broken. So we'll see. But like, I really want to get into like bird watching. I'm like, this is Pokemon Snap, but in real life, that sounds awesome. I'm like, yeah, let me do that. I'm like, I got like some stuff to like knit. I'm like, let me like try to make my own bags. Like, it's just like, I don't know. Like, let's just start having fun because I feel like, and I love what I do. Like, I like my work. So it's not like I don't have fun doing my work, but like outside of that, I think it's always, no matter how cool or whatever your work is, it's always good to have stuff outside of that. So it's like, like instead of just like working and doing laundry, it's like, let's have some fun. Like, let's like learn a new skill or like check out a thing. And like, I don't know. I think that's very like fun, and you can within reason do that like at any time. It's like, we have free will. It's like, let me go fucking take some classes or like start drawing cars again or something. Like, I don't know, it's fun.
I know. I used to do that so much more when I was a kid. Like, even I was just gonna say the drawing example. I used to draw so much and I was getting kind of good at it, and then I just stopped because I was tired from school.
You look like you can draw.
I used to be.
Like, you look like secretly like you could like draw like a cat, and I'd be like, that cat looks pretty good. And you'd be like, yeah, you know, it's not anything.
Cats and dogs, I used to paint. Like, I painted and drew a lot. So like there's certain things you did a lot of. So like I've painted so many cats and dogs that like I can kind of just do them really quick. But like if someone was like, draw a fire hydrant,
that's so
right
exciting.
Now, I would be like, oh, like I wouldn't know, you know, like I'm not good, or like a human pose. I'm crap at humans. I would really like to be good at drawing people. And I remember I was getting the anime books from the art store and like how to do poses and all that kind of stuff. And I was even doing an art class and stuff like that with like actual people come in and pose and you draw them, and I was having a lot of fun. And then I just got too busy and I was like, you're right, I need to do more side quests. And like if something piques my interest, just like follow that thread, because that's also how you make friends in your 30s too. A lot of people are like, I'm so lonely in my 30s. Like, how do you meet people? We don't have, you know, school to meet up every day. It's like, it's hobbies, literally hobbies is the way you make friends in your 30s. Find something you think is cool and go there, and there'll be people eventually who you're like, I want to use part of the life I have to live hanging out in your presence.
This was just a clip from our Patreon exclusive podcast called Bonus Pod. If you support MinnMax on Patreon at the $5 tier, you unlock Bonus Pod each and every week. Haley McLean is joined by cohorts to talk about whatever they want. It's kind of the sister show, the companion show to the MinnMax Show podcast. So there's even more content in here. Also, we take calls from members of the community, and we can really dive into the weeds on stuff. So if you want to more than double the amount of podcasts from MinnMax every week, support MinnMax on Patreon at the $5 tier. Thanks so much.